Okay, good morning to all of you. Welcome to EDU115, Facilitating Learner-Centered Teaching, a course offered by LD Woosley Bethany Colleges in Makati City. Welcome everyone. So this will be our week number 12 as we continue. So this would be our final or the last meeting for midterm period. Then eventually the students will take their online examination. So this is a matter of review and some reminders for all of our students. Actually, tatatlo sila. But nevertheless, since may time pa naman tayo to rectify this as well. No? Okay, let's just wait for a few minutes or few seconds before we continue, or perhaps I would be on a monologue mode. Ayan. Mas mapapadali ang ating session kapag monologue. Okay, so we thank the Lord for that. So baka na-miss nila yung link ng ating course. Oh, good morning, Jerry Lee. How are you? Good morning. We missed you last time, ha? Kumusta ba? What happened to you last week? No, we have not seen you. So it's good thing that you're here. Wala ka pa ring audio, Jerry Lee? Oo nga, walang mic, no? But meron ka bang may mga kabalahan last time? Ayan. So anyway, our purpose here is to fill the gap of other modules that have not been taught or presented. No? So that's my purpose. Now, unlike my Saturday class, alright, so tingnan natin ano ba yung message ni Pastor Pen. You'd come. Identity. Who am I in Christ? Okay, anyway. So yan, no? Ay, wrong send pala ni Pastor Pen. So wala ka pa ring mic, Ayan, so meron palang youth camp si Pastor Pen sa Mindoro. Pero, ayan, wrong send pala siya sa ating group chat. Alright, okay. So, oo, walang audio, sayang. Okay lang, no problem. No problem. Ayan, so, may klase pala. Okay, no problem. We'll wait for Emma, no? Kasi ano lang naman to, mayroon pa lang, hindi mo sinabi Emma nung no? LM. So mayroon siyang for LM class, no? So let's wait for Miss Emma for his class. Nevertheless, perhaps, I don't know if Micaela is around already. Okay. So sige, chat ka lang dyan na Jerry Lee, ha? Ayan. Are you using a PC or mobile, Jerry Lee? Ayan, sige, noted. Alright, so mobile. Dapat may mic ka. Ba't walang mic? Baka naka-disable lang siguro. Kung mobile siya, baka naka-off ang mic. No? Kasi kung mobile, dapat nandyan na, built-in na dyan sa mobile phone yung camera. No? Unlike for PC, may mga configurations na, ayan. No? So anyway, so Again, guys, welcome also. We're live here on our... Okay, good morning, Micaela. How are you? Okay. Okay, Miss Emma will be a little late because she has an LM class until 9:30. So hindi ko naman alam na may LM class si Madam, no? Also on our YouTube channel, Yuning's vlog, welcome. Good morning sa'yo, Yuning. Just call me Brother Ed, Yuning. Ayan, so mukha daw akong pastor, no? So, but nevertheless, thank you because yan, of course we're preacher and we are ministers of God's word, but I'm not a pastor. Thank you, Leoning's vlog, for your participation on our class. This is our class at LD Woosley Bethany Colleges, no? So EDU115. Okay, anyway, thank you, Ma'am Leoning. No? Really appreciate your dropping by on our YouTube channel. Sige, let's open the word of prayer. Then I will start with Module 8. I think I have started Module 7, though hindi ko na siya babalikan. In fact, na-upload ko na siya, no? Yung Modules 1 to 18. Did you notice, Micaela? I already uploaded the Modules 1 to 18 as part of your review. Because later papaliwanag ko yung mechanics nung ating exam, no? So, and then, of course, I will share this also to my Saturday class, which is supposedly tomorrow. Unfortunately, tomorrow is a holiday. Yan, so, nagkataon lang, but they already finished on their modules for midterm. Nevertheless, no, it will be also, I will also share this to our class, this video presentation class for our Saturday, no, yung Saturday class natin. Sige, let's open first in a word of prayer. Then we will have our specifics afterwards. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity where we could continue on our discussion on this very important aspect of learning. That we focus on learning both on the perspective of behaviorist camp as well as those on the cognitism camp. We have seen the realities of these two, that we hope and pray that we may continue to utilize the principles, these principles that we have learned from these modules, and apply this to our respective classes and ministry opportunities. So help us, Lord, by your grace, that we may execute in our classroom these theories, these realities on our respective classroom, and that you may be glorified in our midst. We thank you, Lord. This is our prayer in Christ's name. Amen. Okay, sige. Is my audio clear, Micaela? Okay, thank you. Okay, I will start with Module 8, no? Siguro naghinto tayo dyan. I will fill in the blanks. I will fill in the gap of the unpresented module. So that's my responsibility today. Hopefully, I could fill in, and if you have some clarification. No? So, in fact, I already uploaded this. Let's browse our classroom. I have created already our... you could freely react Jerry Lee on the chat box, no? Because Jerry Lee doesn't have audio. All right. Thank you, Ma'am Leoning, no? Leoning's vlog for on our YouTube channel. So, of course, we have... I will be creating here a form on the week number 12, no? Ilalagay ko dyan midterm examination. So, wala pang midterm. What is actually here, in fact, I already linagay ko na rin yung modules. Kailangan pala natin mag-assign, no? Meron lang kayong isang assignment for finals, no? Tama ba? One assignment. Micaela. Also Jerry Lee. One module lang, no, per finals o dalawa? Isa lang?
Isa pa lang.
Okay, so this time also the purpose of which is to assign you another module, no, para ma-cover yung, in a way, it's concept of motivation later on when Emma come in. So perhaps we could agree on what particular module that you will be discussing, no, until week of course week 18 18 or 17. So 18 wala na tayong gagawin, no? So it's more on ano na lang. Ano na lang 'yan, grades, no? I'll intend to issue your semestral grades earlier than usual together with your prelim and midterm, no? So by the way, so yun, I told you before that you could approximate your prelim exam by just looking into your prelim exam grade or score, no? So I think I already explained that, no? Micaela, no? In this class, not only on the other classes, no, that you could approximate your prelim grade, no, by dividing your score over 700, multiply it by 40%. And afterwards, you will add 60%. That would be your maximum grade as far as that period is concerned. Same as true with your midterm. But the actual grade, I will reveal on the semester. That would include your online and offline activities. No? That would be your presentation. That's I'll factor in the presentation grade as well as your take home, as well as your the reflective summary. It's very important as well. So aside from that, of course, our participations on the classes, which will make the learning and teaching experience more meaningful to every one of us. Okay? So can you see clearly here your... Okay, siguro palakihan ko to. So guys, this is our classroom. So I already uploaded the required modules, readings, no? 19 is uploaded since our prelim period, no? 19. In fact, this supposedly assigned to me, no? But I could assign this to you, no? So that sakto kayo, tagdadalawa kayong presentation from modules 19 to 25, no? So dadagdagan ko pa yun ng tag-iisang presentation. And then module 26 will be the wrap up of all of the modules from 1 to 25. So as we have seen here, though I already uploaded also, if you will notice here, teka, hindi pala ito. Ito yung module 19, no? So yan yung ating motivation, no? So unit. But for module this one, I already uploaded the rest of the modules. So if you could see, you could access that, no? Okay, so for your references, no, I hope you are already preparing some of your module assignments. Okay, so siguro hintayin ko rin si Emma bago tayo mag-decide on this. Yan, nag-chat si Emma kasi, no, na malilate siya ng konti. Alright, clear on this uploads, final week. Since I already, Micaela, no? So final week, we have 2 materials here. One is posted since prelim, module 19, and the rest of the modules I already uploaded in the next post, no? I posted this 3 days ago, April 5. Now, let's go to, siguro hintay-hintayin ko lang si ano, no? Then we have here, the midterm requirement checklist. Of course, the evaluation. So you need to update your evaluation forms. This time, I already included all of your presentations. So we have 6 evaluation forms respectively. So each one of you should have your evaluation, whether that be self-evaluation or peer evaluation for the 6 modules presented this midterm period. Same as true with the reflective summary. The reflective summary requirement, so we have here all of the module plus your chosen module. No? Remember, before we have my requirement is 2, but now I reduce it to 1. So we will have only 1 reflective summary for the chosen module on that ebook on Christian higher education. So chosen special topic, so that you will create your reflective summary. Okay, is this clear, guys? Micaela? So both for reflective summary and evaluation forms respectively, all of which you already have your forms where you could upload respectively your reflective summary as well as evaluation forms. Okay, is this noted, Jerry Lee and Micaela?
Opo.
All right. So, and then after this, also, I uploaded already the lecture notes. The lecture notes that I'll be presenting is part of this modules 1 to 18. Okay, 1 to 18. So, this is a PDF file. I suppose you already download this. Same as true with the material that I am using. But this is until module 18. This covers lectures until module 18. No? This is of course, not that exhaustive, but in a way, a reflection of the first two modules. My point in uploading this is that definitely, no, the focus of our midterm examination is the midterm modules from 7 to 18. However, there will be an occasion that I will be including some questions from modules 1 to 6 as well. Okay, pero konti lang to, hindi to karamihan. Ang karamihan na perhaps in siguro 20% of the questions will still be coming from, if not siguro maximum na 'yon, no? 10 to 15 or 10 to 20% of the test questions will be coming from the first sets of modules from 1 to 6, and then the rest, which is the meat of our midterm examination, coming from module 7 to 18. Okay? So I will be dividing this, no? Again, no, as I have done in prelim period, 40%. 40% of the question will be my own questions based on the readings of the modules, and 60% will be coming from your take-home exam or your take-home, which is uploaded already. The questions are uploaded. Okay. This time I put it in a PDF file. Okay, PDF file para isa na lang kasi last time yata image file yung pinadala ko dito. So ito isa na lang na review question to. No, my instruction is to answer. This is now the volume 2 of the reviewer. Even numbers only. Guys, take note. I put an information there that supposedly due on April 15. That is also the due date of the exam. So the midterm exam will be uploaded sooner than later than today, tomorrow, or maximum date is Monday. If Monday, I might adjust it to April 16. All right? So the deadlines is coincidental to the deadline of the examination. Okay? So wag kayong mabahala dun sa deadline. So I always put some allowance of time as far as our submission, just like what we have done last time, no? So but take note, you should not be late in taking the examination. Some not in this class, but on my other EDU115 class, no, they failed to take the test on time, so that would correspond to demerits or deductions so I'm still tentative on, definitely they will have deductions, but I'm still waiting in the amount. Though I initially declared it's 5% per day, so I think that would be too much. So I'm still thinking about that. No, those who are taking the exam. So please, in taking the exam, do not be late, as well as the take home. Now the take home is this one. So you just need to solve the even numbers. But definitely, though you are only solving the even numbers, the odd numbers may be an item for your examination. Okay? Make sense, Micaela? Okay? So though ang requirement ko lang sa take home even, pwedeng yung odd lumabas din sa exam. Okay? Ayun yung masasabi natin dyan. Though ito, general na ito for the entire course. No, general. Gusto ko kasing masanay din kayo sa mga test items na ganito, no? Ayan, so alright. So, yan, no. Kitang-kita yung mga test items na yan. So, even numbers only. So, don't, of course, you could try to answer all, but you'll be submitting on the separate folder here. Take home for midterm exam, you could upload a PDF file or an image file or a Word document. No, you will just upload in this form just like what you're doing on the reflective summary now that we are doing. No? So, dyan yan sa form na yan. And that would be the checklist for midterm. And what we are waiting now is my upload on the midterm examinations will be posted beside the prelim exam here. Okay, do you have clarification, Jerry Lee, on the chat box while waiting for Emma? So perhaps I may repeat other salient options, salient aspects when Emma come back. Okay, do you have question, Jerry Lee, on this? No? So you just need to wait for the upload, then you count 5 days. No? So that's the deadline. No? In fact, I already scheduled it April 15. So, but it may vary depending on my upload, no? So, the reason behind why I somewhat delay the upload is for you to focus first on your other subjects. Of course, yan, Jerry Lee, I think, is, okay, going back. Welcome, Jerry Lee. Ayan, so let's wait for Emma. No, perhaps she has also. You have clarification, Jerry Lee, on our requirements for midterm. You could have put it on a chat box, no, if your mic is still not okay. How about you, Micaela? You have something to clarify for your midterm checklist? Okay, so it's clear na. So, ang kulang na lang natin yung prelim. Kailan ko ay midterm. Kailan ko i-upload? Depende sa kung kailan ko i-upload. Basta pag in-upload ko siya, plus 5 days. No, plus 5 days siya. So, no need to worry. So, it will not, ano naman, we will continue. Anyway, next week is a Good Friday, so we'll not meet, no? So, we will be meeting on week number 14 after this. No? So, next week will be a Good Friday, and then we'll continue. And that time, you will be starting with the presentation. So, by the way, we'll just spend perhaps if you will agree, we could do 3 presentations per week, no? So that the remaining weeks will be as I planned also from my 115 class, Saturday class, no, I plan to teach you some item analysis, no, for the item analysis, no, magkakaroon ng we could analyze items and through some techniques, appropriate techniques in answering this board problems or board questions. You'll be able to have a skill of answering board exam questions. So that's perhaps we could spend until week 18. Now week 18, I will be, of course, only the requirement is final exam. And then also I'm announcing that we will have our culminating meeting. So I don't know if everyone is available. I intend this I intend this to be in Google Meet, so where everyone will be there, no? So in fact, I'm doing this every semester. There will be a culminating activity, whereas I'm giving a sort of a devotional message to all of our students. No, I'll be using the link, no, of our Google Meet. No, I hope if I'll be doing that. Perhaps mark your calendar as we have scheduled your final examination. So we have a week. Today is week 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So the schedule of my culminating culmination is on May 21. I encourage you to be part of that program. Yan, so nawala si Jerry Lee. Okay? So I hope that everyone is invited, though it's not a requirement, but it's more of a culminating activity. I would like also to encourage people the young people by closing the semester with a devotional challenge for all of you. I'm doing this since my first meeting, my first semester. This is my third semester, so I'm doing some devotional challenge to my student, and perhaps the best time to meet is on my Saturday class because majority are there. We could make use of the Google Meet link instead of Restream for that. So take note of your calendar if you're able and available. So mark that calendar on May 21. That's supposedly coincidental to the final exams. Though we will not have finals, we'll have just a fellowship of God's Word and through a devotional challenge, so that we will end the semester with this fervent desire to be challenged in the ministry and to serve the Lord, with the devotion and with faithfulness to Him. So that's my intention. Okay, so just mark that calendar, May 21. That's coincidental with week 18. I'll be joining you. Though this is not a requirement, hopefully I could see you on that week, that final week that we will have. Because the time is cutting short. So konting-konti na lang yan. Kapag midterm towards finals, napaka dali na ng panahon. Napakadali na ng panahon. Hindi na siya mabagal. Katulad ng prelim midterm, pagdating ng midterm finals, transition. So napakadali na niyan. Kasi marami na kayong kabalahan. Alright, so okay, I think Emma would be coming in any time now. Okay, you have clarification, Micaela or Jerry Lee? So nandito na lahat yung kailangan, even the preparation for finals. Okay? So let me pull down the list of your okay, checking the list of your module assignments. While waiting for Emma, because Emma has still class until 9:30. Hopefully he could come in by now, no? He could come in by now. All right. So all right. So acknowledging one top chat on our YouTube. So I'm just looking at my folder, LD Woosley folder. Jerry Lee, anong year mo na? Are you third year, Jerry Lee? Or fourth year? Third. Okay. Third year. Then up next year or next school year, you will have your practicum, no? The practicum classes. Of course, you have your two preparatory to practice. We have the observation class as well as assisting, and then the actual practice teaching. So dahil tatlong level kasi yan eh. So more on observation teaching, assistance in teaching, and practice teaching. So yung field study 1 and 2, yun yung nag-occupy dyan. No? Field study 1, observation teaching, and then assistance to teaching, or you will have field study 2, and then yung practice teaching eventually. No? So, yan. So, fourth year na pala. Gagraduate na rin si Jerry Lee next year. How about you, Micaela? You are already third year or fourth year ka na, Micaela, next?
Third year po.
Third year. So you still have some edu classes and some math classes. O nga pala, calculus 3 pa, no? Calculus 3. O nga pala, no? So anyway, so ang parang sa math, ang makakatawid pa lang si sino pa lang makakagraduate sa math major, Micaela?
Ako po tas si Dale.
Hindi.
Ano po ako sa first year?
Oh, the rest is no, kasi yung iba na napaka-irig ni ni Gillian, no? Si Acel, kabatch mo si Acel, no? Hindi.
Irregular po siya.
Irig din siya. So anyway, sige, pag-pray natin na maayos siyang para ma-regulate kayo, no? Mahirap naman na irig palagi, no? Kasi pag irig yata, hindi pwedeng mag-practice teaching, no? Dapat kompleto na yung courses, both edu and math class. No? That's as far as my understanding is concerned. Okay, I think let's just wait for Ma'am Emma. Kasi meron siyang LM class. Though alright. So, dali lang. Hanapin ko lang yung aking mga So siguro pag-usapan natin yung let me clarify here. Okay, let me review you. Micaela, you are 26 ka pala, Micaela? 26 ang na-assign sa'yo? Tama?
Opo, 26 po pinili ko.
You have chosen. Teka. Jerry Lee, your module 21. So kung may 26, wala na akong... Sige, kung ano na lang yung maiwan dyan, yan yung sa akin siguro. No? Yan ko lang nabuksan yung natin. And then Emma is module 24. So if we are... teka. So paano natin to... Hintayin ko si Ma'am Emma, no? So Miss Emma para mahati na natin to, no? At least meron na. Of course, you're already in preparation, no? Siguro you have time for that, no? Module Jerry Lee is 21 kasi, no? Kasi naman yung tatlong lumipat sa atin, eh. No? Anyway, ito kasi yung file ko nung anim pa kayo. Anim pa kayo dati, no? That includes Gillian and Acel. Unfortunately, they have been transferred to the Saturday class. So ang mangyayari nito per week is 3 presentations para ma-maximize natin yung time for item analysis. No? So kung week 13 walang pasok because Holy Week. Week 14, 15. Pagdating ng 16, 17, 18, yan. Puro na lang tayo dyan, item analysis. More on item analysis na lang yung titingnan natin. So yun yung plano natin para at least we already cover all of the modules at the same time preparing for preparation for board. Let me remind you, after the class, after our semester ends, I'll be also for the sake of all of my edu classes, no, I'm providing you the 2 volumes for the professional reviewers. So yun yung basis ng ating take home for prelim and midterm period. Okay, so you'll have a copy of that. I'll be uploading it on the classroom. However, itong paalala ko sa inyo, Michael and Jerry Lee, don't wait for it to be archived. Pag naging archive yan, wala na kayong magiging access doon unless na buhayin ko siya. No? Pero I won't do that. So, you could download all of the resources, no, before that it will be archived. No, hindi ko alam, no, after the semester ends, no, matutulog kasi siya eh. Pag natulog siya, gagawin ng Google, i-archive niya yung classroom. Pag na-archive na, wala na kayong access. Okay, that's why I encourage you to download all the materials here as soon as the semester ends. So para hindi kayo, kasi hindi ko na siya i-archive. Kasi privilege siya ng estudyante. So if it had been archived, meaning you lost your privilege already. So anyway, it's for you only. But of course, you could share this also to other classmates and friends. Okay, make sense, Micaela and Jerry Lee. So yan yung mga paalala natin. So ang tagal ni Emma. Actually, I'm still waiting for Emma for us to have some reconciliation on the assignment. Siguro, pull down ko na lang ang ating dakilang wheel of names, no? Para doon sa dalawa pa. Siya yung siguro yung mamimili. Siguro I'll pull down while waiting for Miss Emma to be part of our class. All right. So, by the way, are you doing the midterm exams for other courses already, Micaela and Jerry Lee?
Wala pa po.
Wala pa rin? Kailan? Kailan mag-e-exam? Ibang mga courses. Of course, yung sa akin, dinidelay ko talaga. Strategy ko yun. Para mabigyan ng time yung estudyante for those courses. No? But wala pa nagbibigay ng exam. Baka wala naman pa exam. 2 subjects kay Jerry Lee. Anyway, so ako naman, on my part, so it could be taken, no, just the same procedure as prelim period. You could just approach me and then ask for that exam code. Okay? So baka nga pag makita, baka nga sa week 14 ko pa ma-upload yan, no? Wala namang problema doon. No, kasi may plus 5 days naman kayo eh. No, hindi naman siya, pagka-upload ko agad, exam kayo agad. Hindi ganun. Ayaw nang tumawa nito ah. Oy, ayaw na. Nangyari. Saglit lang guys ha. Medyo nalobat na yung aking speaker. Okay? Okay, sound check. Alright. Okay, is my audio clear, guys? Micaela? Audio clear? Or... Okay. Sige. Sige, hintayin lang natin si Ma'am Emma and then mag-drawlats na tayo siguro sa Wheel of Names. Yun muna yung pagtuunan natin. So Micaela has module 26, Emma has module 24, and Jerry Lee has module 21. So that's our, this had been there since the prelim period, no? Wheel of Names tayo. Yan, natin. So sana maabot ni Ma'am Emma. I hope Ma'am Emma is already connecting. So welcome Ma'am Emma. How are you? How are you, ma'am?
Good morning po, sir. Okay lang po.
Okay, so
Nagkaano po kasi, may klase po kasi ako hanggang 9:30 po pa.
Oo, hindi mo sinabi last time eh. Malay ko ba? Dapat
Nakalimutan ko rin po, sir. Akala ko po kasi with di ba midterm week? Akala ko po sa inyo lang kasi kami may klase. Kaya nagulat din lang po kanina, nag-PM po.
nagklase.
Kanina din lang po, opo, nagklase po.
Okay.
Kaya sorry po.
No problem. Anyway, we are discussing here as part of our discussion a while ago. You will be assigned another module. Aside from the one that you are already have. Ayan, so yan. Okay, Jerry Lee is here. Alright, so you will have, by the way, Emma, I already uploaded the modules. Did you notice? Here in week 13. Readings for modules 20 to 26. It's there already. So as your
Yes,
reference for your presentation, of course, module 19 is there since midterm, prelim period. And I already upload your take home. By the way, for take home, it's even numbers only. Don't answer the odd numbers. However, there's a possibility that I will get odd number items to be part of your midterm exam. Pero ang requirement ko lang sa take home ay even numbers. So the questionnaire is here in PDF file, and then you will submit it on this answer through this form. Now you'll just upload your answer here on this form, as well as a reflective summary. Reflective summary is there. Okay, and yung special topic. Now the 6 presentations and the special topic, the chosen topic for based on the Christian Higher Education ebook, it's there. And of course, your seminar evaluation. So all of these are available now. And the deadline is the deadline of the exam. So tentatively, I assign the deadline by April 15. So therefore, you may anticipate the examination to be uploaded within today or tomorrow. Okay? So that would be the tentative. So everything will be submitted not beyond April 15. Okay? Noted, Ma'am Emma?
Sponsor.
Okay. Ayan. So yan yung ating update sa ating. Of course, I will be putting the link here, no? Beside the prelim exam, wala pa ako nakikreate kasi still anticipate a 700 point exam or less or more. So depende kasi sa totoo lang mas malawak yung midterm natin, modules 7 to 18, no? So I might I'm still thinking whether it's more than 700 points or 70 items, 10 point each, or more or less, no? More or less. I'm still thinking because I could always pull down on my data bank. And then at the same time, the composition of the question will be 40% coming from me and 60% deriving from the take-home exam questions. Okay? So yun yung ating question, Ma'am Emma, about that. So that's our requirement.
Wala naman po, sir.
Okay, so let's go to the wheel of names now. This time, Micaela has already 26, module 26. Is it right, Emma? You're assigned module 24. And Jerry Lee is module 21. Okay, so here we go. So as I spin, the one that will okay, let me also ipa-flash ko rin dito yung table ng modules natin para may pamimilian kayo, no. So ang mauna dito, siyang unang mamimili ng remaining module, no. Same same strategy we have even the prelim period. Alright? So let me check. So para at least meron kayong, though the material is already up. Okay? So we're now focusing on the classroom process. So here is the content of modules 19 to 26. Right? Can you see? Emma, are you using mobile or PC?
PC po.
PC. So visible yung content, module
Yes.
content.
Opo.
Alright? So palakihan ko ng konti. Anyway, itong letra naman pwedeng maliit, no? So ayan, para so yung una, siya ang unang pipili, no, together with your, and then guys, let me say also, Ma'am Emma, let me say that we will have 3 presentations per week, meaning ano na yan, so gagawin lang natin itong presentation ng 2 weeks, and then the remaining weeks I will have a sort of item analysis for the board exam problems and questions. I will teach you some strategies, no, practical insights on how to anticipate or answer questions related to board exam. Now, of course, related to our course content, which is this one, EDU115, and also connected to 101. No? Kasi magka-connect sila eh. Yung EDU115 saka yung EDU101 ay magka-connect na course. Okay, are you ready guys? Micaela and Emma, Jerry Lee. Let's choose who will be the first one to choose. Okay, ready? Micaela and Emma and Jerry Lee.
Yes po.
Ayan, so sige. Oh, it's Jerry Lee that will be choosing first. Jerry Lee, just chat. Just tell me on the chat box the next module that you will be presenting aside from module 21. Okay, you just put it in the chat box, Jerry Lee. I know ayan. So module 22. Okay, noted. Module 22 is so magkasunod, no? Module 22. Let me edit it here. Okay, so module 22. So module 22. Okay, Jerry Lee, module 22. Ay, dapat tinanggal ko pala, no? Anyway, sige, okay na yan. Next, tatatlo lang naman eh. Then si Jerry Lee, and then sino na lang kay Emma at Micaela. Okay, it's Ma'am Emma. Ma'am Emma, choose your module.
Module 19 po, sir.
Module
Meaning and types of motivation.
Right, so you'll be taking care of 24 and 19. Now, it's up to you. You have the liberty to present. Perhaps I may decide to chronologically arrange this. Now, later, let's decide whether that would be fitted. All right, so the last option is for Micaela, since Emma and Jerry Lee have already chosen their modules. Micaela, what will be your chosen module?
$25 po.
25. So 25. So ang alright, meron pa ring mga ilang sige, I will take care of that. Since module 20 wala, I would take care of module 20. So ang mangyayari niyan, so okay lang ba i-chronological na natin guys yung presentation? I'll be starting with 19, care of Emma, 20, care of me, and then 21, Jerry Lee. That's for week number 14. Okay lang ba yon? Jerry Lee and Emma? Is it okay for you?
Yes po.
Para may flow na siya, yung chronology of flow, no? Flow of thought. So, yan. So, Ma'am Emma will be first. And me, 20, and then 21. Jerry Lee, that will be week number 14. And then the rest, no? On week number 15, it's 20, tama ba? 19, 20, 21, and then 22. So perhaps 22 and meron pa palang ano, no? Sige. 22 it's Jerry Lee. Siguro next time na ako. Teka, wait. Next time na ako yung inserts ko saka na lang, no? Siguro on the succeeding week na lang 'yon. So ang mangyayari, it's Emma and Jerry Lee. Okay lang ba, Jerry Lee? May I know your thoughts? Okay lang ba if you will present two presentations for week 14? Jerry Lee, okay lang ba 'yon? 19, 21, 22. So yun yung plano, or if not, okay lang ba? Jerry Lee, can you put in the chat box? And then week 15, it's Emma again with 24, and then Micaela 25, 26. And then the succeeding week, perhaps I could just fill in the gap of the unpresented modules. Okay?
Ay, sir. Sir, mas okay po ba kaya kung para medyo kung maayos kung mag-23 and 24 na din lang po ako? Para let's say kung mas maayos po, okay lang.
It's up to you. That's why I'm giving you the option to choose your own module. Kung 20...
Instead of 19, so 23.
23. Yan. So kung 23, teka.
Parang related po yung magkasunod.
Anyway, nobody have chosen 23, so pwedeng 23. So ganito, partner na kayo, no? 21, 22. So we will be starting with number 22. Modules 19 to 20, I'll take care of that. Yan, pwede po bang may kasabay? May kasabay ka, Jerry Lee. It's Jerry Lee and Emma for week 14. So 22, 21, 22, and 23 of Emma for week 14. And then for week 15, it's Emma and Micaela. Okay, any comments? Micaela and Emma and Jerry Lee. Kasi kailangan 3 presentations. Doable naman yung 3 presentations kasi ginawa namin yun sa Saturday class. In fact, meron pang instance na 4 presentations. So dito, hindi ko natin sasagarin yung ganon. So 3 presentations. Para ang purpose natin, matapos tayo sa lahat ng modules, then we could devote our few meetings for item analysis. So, turuan ko kayo ng diskarte para sumagot ng tanong. Kasi guys, ito ang na-realize ko, sayang yung dunong natin, sayang yung talino nyo sa classroom kung hindi nyo ma-apply sa board exam. May comment ba, Ma'am Emma and Micaela? Sayang yung talino, yun, matalino. Yes, you're bright in the classroom, but you have not converted that skill to the manner of answering the board exam. No, sayang. So, kailangan though meron pa kayong subject na ganyan, no, integration course nyo by board year also. So, pero dapat meron ding, of course, I feel the responsibility also as your content instructor to at least to contribute on how to attack problems related to my subject matter, to the subject matter. So, I feel that responsibility as well. And by the way, this is 20% of your professional course. So, kaya guys, gaganunin natin. Okay, okay na ba? Is it okay or you have reactions? O may ibang option ba sa inyo?
Okay lang po ako, sir.
Okay lang ba, Ma'am Emma? 2 week ka? Okay lang sa iyo?
Apo.
Sure ka?
Yes, sir, pwede po.
Kasi nga, may
Umabot doon po nahati eh.
may isa pang option sa isipan ko. Pwede nyo akong tanungin. Kaya lang kasi may request si Jerry Lee na may kasabay, no? So parang hindi. Ang gagawin natin, parallel siya. No, si Jerry Lee sa week 14, tapos magka-item analysis na tayo agad. Si Emma sa week 15, item analysis pa rin, katubad. And then week 6, 14, 15, at wala tayong week 13, no? 14, 15, 16. So may parallel tayo. So after the presentations, meron na tayong second part, no? Ma-maximize natin yung 3 hours natin for item analysis. So para at least, isang pisa ka na lang, Ma'am Emma. Hindi na yung dalawa. Mahirap din kaya yon, tensyonado ka ng 2 linggo, samantalang yung classmate mo, 1 linggo lang ang What do you think? Micaela, what are your thoughts? Yun nga lang, okay lang ba sa'yo, Jerry Lee, na wala kang kasama? Anyway, sasamahan ka naman namin eh. Ikaw lang magpe-present, pero sasamahan ka naman namin.
Sir, baka
Okay
lang
na
po
ba?
mabigat para kay Jerry Lee yung dalawa po sa isang meeting. Kaya po siya nahingi ng kasabay.
Okay. Ayun, nahulog tuloy si Jerry Lee. Hintayin natin si Jerry Lee. Pero umokay naman siya. Yes po sir eh. Ayan dito sa private chat.
Sinabi po niya yan, sir, nung sinabi ko po yung about po dun sa heavy yung workload po. Kapag 2 report sa isang week.
Sa isang week?
Kaya po siya siguro nahingi ng kasabay kasi para po isang report po sa isang week.
Mas okay sa inyo isa lang sa isang linggo. Ganon.
Sa akin po, sir, okay lang naman po kahit isang week lang po ako. Pero baka po sa kanila, baka po hindi po kaya.
Yes. I got your point. Okay. Kaya inaayos natin kasi sa Saturday class ko planchado na to eh. Planchado na yung scheduling sa kasi sa kanila sagad dahil maraming estudyante, sagad yung schedule pero sa atin kayo kasi mas maraming module sa magre-report. Ganito na lang, sige. Ako na lang pa-partner sa inyo. Kaya lang paano kaya yun? Magkakaroon ng schedule na gano'n. Uurong tayo 13, walang 13. Kasi holiday pa 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 5 weeks kung isa-isa. So for you, Micaela, okay lang sa'yo na isang pisa sa'yo? Isang
okay lang po, sir, kung yun po mangyayari. Pero okay rin po sa akin kung once 2 weeks.
Kasi problema, pag i-stretch natin, mag-week 19 tayo. So kasi may holiday tayo ng ang mangyayari niya, ang plano ko, so may isang magpe-present sa inyo, tapos yung unpresented module ako magpe-present. So unahin ko yung 19, tapos yung 21 ni Jerry Lee. And then susunod dyan siguro, tama, para may partnering, pwede rin naman. So 21, ako, tapos yung 21 ni Jerry Lee. Next week, yung 22 ni Jerry Lee, yung 23 ni Emma.
Pwede din po.
Then, yung susunod na linggo, yung 24 ni Emma, saka yung 25 mo. And then, yung susunod na linggo, sakto. Susunod na linggo, yung 26 mo, saka yung the remaining module na ipe-present ko. What do you think, guys? Yun na yung pinaka okay sa akin.
Okay na po, sir.
So, yan, tagdadalawa kayo and then hindi magkasabay. Okay ba yun, Emma? What are your thoughts?
Okay na rin po, sir.
Okay, how about Jerry Lee? Okay ba yun? So, Okay na po. Sige, okay na. Okay na 'yon. So for week 14, it's me and Jerry Lee with his module 21. Week 15, it's 22, Jerry Lee's 22 and Emma's 23. Week 16, it's Emma's 24 and Micaela's 25. And then week 17, sakto meron pa rin tayo, no? Week 17, it's Micaela's 26 and the remaining modules on me. At the same time, we will have some parallel item analysis, no? The remaining time, since we will only consume perhaps 2 hours for the 2 presentations, the remaining hour would be intended for analysis of items. Okay, so ganun yung okay ba yun? Para at least yung ano natin, maubos natin yung course, maximize the course, and then preparing you for examinations. No? Importante yung ma-prepare, no? Hindi kayo nagugulat. Ay, ganito pala yung test item sa board, no? So walang gulatan. So hindi kayo magugulat dahil you are already acquainted. Okay? So okay na tayo doon, klaro? Okay na?
Okay po, sir.
Okay, so okay, nag-yes na rin si Jerry Lee dito. Okay, sige. So sige, that would be the case. So tuloy natin, no? Konti na lang naman 'to. Papasadahan ko lang yung ilang modules na hindi natin natalakay. So I think I started 7 module 7 but I have not finished. So through your readings, no, yan niyo na lang yon. So I will be starting on module 8. No, module 8 muna tayo. No, parang kasi para naman kasi sa Saturday class ko, every module had been assigned for my class. So dahil marami sila, no, unlike our class, no, nako-konti. So there are unpresented modules. No, yung module 10 or module 8 is actually neo-behaviorism, no? So this is actually it's actually a link of behaviorist camp to the cognitism camp. So yun yung sense nitong behaviorism. Yung neo-behaviorism, no? So in fact, this is part of your lecture. So just to have a rundown. Okay? So afterwards, no, ihintayin nyo na lang yung upload ng midterm exam, then you could take the examination. But I suggest you take your time for the take home first. No, yung take home muna ang asikasuhin nyo kasi 60%, at least 60% of the questions I will get from that take home. No, take home. All right. So anyway, so one of which of the proponents of neo-behaviorism is Edward Tolman. Now we have this purposive behaviorism or sign learning theory. Now he viewed learning primarily as cognitive process. So nagkakaroon na ng hindi lang siya behavior, reaction of stimulus, response, pair, but it's more of a process. No, kumbaga yung proseso sa isipan, doon nagkakaroon ng learning. Hindi lang siya input and output. Kumbaga may process. Input, yes, but there is a process. And the learning is actually take into place in the process, in what we call the cognitive process. And then there will be an output as well. So ang nakikita lang ng behaviorist camp ay yung input-output, the stimulus and the response, not the process in between input and output, which is the cognitive process. A matter of acquiring beliefs and knowledge about environment. So of course, there are environmental consciousness, no? And then demonstrating that knowledge by acting in purposeful, goal-directed ways. There is a purpose in learning, perhaps learning how to add numbers. So there is a process, now perhaps as a teacher, as a facilitator of learning, we may provide opportunities or venues in terms of activities, whereas the student could demonstrate their skills as far as your objective is concerned. Perhaps the objective is adding 2 numbers, or whole numbers or fractions. So there are related strategies, teaching strategies where you could employ on your classroom, and you allow the student or the pupil to process so that it will be connected to the goal of the lesson. No, that's why mahalaga yung lesson planning objectives. No, perhaps we could input there the Bloom's taxonomy on the cognitive domain. Of course, we need to have also the affective domain as well as the psychomotor. I'm not so sure if you're doing this in your lesson planning. You have these three components, or only focusing on cognitive. What can you say, Micaela and Emma and Jerry? Okay, am I delay? So, may requirement bang ganun, o purely you're looking into the cognitive domain lang sa objective lesson objectives?
Sir, yung tatlo may cognitive, tapos psychomotor, tsaka affective.
Affective. So, dapat makita yan sa lesson plan objective.
Yes po, yes po.
Okay. So, kasi sa college, hirap na hirap kami dyan eh. Alam ba paano mo isa psychomotor yung calculus? Sige nga. Yan, medyo problematic kami mga math major saka engineering pagdating sa bagay na yan. No? How could you create such objective? No? Whereas, the content, the subject matter itself should not be defined by this objective. No? Most especially, it could be just cognitive or sometimes affective, but not necessarily psychomotor, just like most of the math class. But of course, we could always put a psychomotor objective as well as affective, but primarily cognitive. No? So anyway, so it's good thing for LM course, you are doing that. And here is the key concept as far as neo-behaviorism by Tolman. Learning is always purposive and goal-directed. So mahalaga na may objective. That's why on the start of the course, we set the objectives, the directions for this course. No? As you can see, on the first part of this review notes, lecture note, we have the specific objective. Though per college, more on course objectives. For LM and basic ed, it's more on the lesson plan or lesson objective, or at least the module objective. No? So on the micro view, no, ayan. But on the collegiate or tertiary, it's more on a macro view. So we are looking into the course as a one unit, no, rather than looking into the parts of the lesson. No? Though, pero ang principle dyan, pareho pa rin. No? There must be a purpose, a goal, no, for you to learn. No? And cognitive maps, selecting the shortest and easiest path to achieve the goal. So there are, of course, these shortcuts are necessary to accelerate learning. There are occasions that students learn to discover shortcuts in problem solving. I think that's a valid process, no? Or perhaps easier way to learn, not only in math but also in science, in other disciplines. No? So these are cognitive maps, meaning there are processes. As they analyze the process, they be able to determine the shortest path. No? I think yan dapat ang ano natin, no? Yung shortest path na yan in answering questions. No? Kasi the longer the path, no, ang ating kalaban ay oras. Lalo na sa sa ating of course when you're already taking your board exam, time is of essential, no? Is of the essence. Kaya habang tumatagal ka sa isang problema, lalong bumababa yung probability na makita mo yung tamang sagot. So may direct proportionality yun. Siyempre, nandun na yung kaba, nandun na yung other parameters, no? that perhaps worriness, anxiety, other things. Kaya mahalaga na magkaroon tayo ng mga cognitive maps so that we could have the shortest path. Okay? So latent learning, no, remains and stays within the individual until needed. No, of course, in the context, no, so nandiyan yan yung latency. So, ibig sabihin ng latency yung duration where it will be staying on our memory, no? So mas kailangan mo siya, mas nananatili siya diyan. Yung ibang mga bagay na nakakalimutan mo dahil hindi mo na siya kailangan. All right? So latent learning remains stays within the individual until needed. No? So yung need, intervening variable determinants of behavior, no? So there are intervening variables as well, that is determinants of behavior or the outcome. So ito na more on the outcome na to. Though the one that triggers this is the process, the cognitive process. No, kaya ang neo-behaviorism, hindi niya iniwan yung behaviorism, pero kinonsider niya rin yung cognitive process. So there's more a combination of this behavior as well as the cognitive process. Now the behavior would be somewhat the output of the cognitive process. So reinforcement is not essential for learning. So it will remain so yung stimuli, so dinideny na dito yung automatic stimuli response curve, no? And it should not be the case for cognitive process. So there could be cognitive process even without stimulus response pair. No, kaya yung reinforcement is not essential for learning. Halimbawa, si Micaela naturuan ng integration sa calculus 2. So the cognitive process will continue regardless whether there are reinforcement or not. So that's neo-behaviorism. No? That's how they consider it. Or for instance, a child will remain to process mathematical operations even there are no reinforcements as far as behavior is concerned. So as far as behavior and stimulus pair is concerned. Because the core of learning is not on the pairs of output and input, but on the process within the learner. So yan yung eventually, pagdating natin sa behavior, sa cognitive camp, iniwan na niya yung input-output. Ang natira yung process. Okay? So yun yung makikita natin dyan. And then of course, social learning theory by Albert Bandura. So this is an important theory as well. Aside from Tolman, it emphasizes the importance, okay, still on neo-behaviorism, no? It emphasizes the importance of observing and modeling behavior. So this time, the behaviors external and the attitudes, emotion, reactions of others. So kaya ka nagkakaroon ng social learning. You're learning from others. No? Others' behavior. Not on your own behavior and response, but on the behavior of others. Kasi ang behaviorist camp solely focuses on the learner's response to the stimulus. But Bandura extended this into the learning process as observed, no, as observed to others, no, as observed by the reactions of others, sabi dito, no. So yung nakukuha natin yung behavior nila, attitude, emotions, no, as the response of others. According to Bandura, most human behavior is learned observationally, by observation, through modeling and imitation. Of course, mahalagang aspeto ito, lalo na during the process of imitation of pupil-teacher, no? It's not only the cognitive that had been imitated, also the attitude, values, and behavior as well. So yan yung makikita natin dyan. So kung ano ang guro, siya ang magiging estudyante. No? At kung masama ang guro, no, kung bulakbol ang guro, no, anong aasahan natin sa estudyante, no, by social learning theory, ganito rin yung magiging impact sa kanya. So by modeling and imitation. Right? This theory explains human behavior in terms of continuous reciprocal interaction between cognitive and behavioral. So yung behavior observed, and then there's a cognitive process, and then ikaw din magkakaroon ng behavioral output observed by others as well. So there are continuous reciprocity. Pag sinabing reciprocal, hindi ito yung mathematical term, Micaela, no? Reciprocal meaning there is you and the peers or the environment or the social norm wherein you observe. Nagkakaroon ka ng interaction, reciprocal interaction with your environment on the context of your pupils, perhaps in your classmates, peers, and other part of that community or social construct. No, depende kung anong social construct yan, sa classroom ba, sa family, sa church. No, so we could have this continuous reciprocity as far as interaction with cognitive, behavioral, and environmental influences. So another thing by Bandura, now people learn through observation, simulation, modeling, which means watching, observing. Another called a model, and latter imitating the model's behavior. So there's imitation. Now, doon sa minomodel mo, ino-observe mo muna, then simulation. So simulation is a modeling in your mind. No, it's a pre-modeling procedure. The modeling person is acting on it. No, you're acting on that observation simulation. No, kaya mahalaga yung observation. And then yung other called a modeling, and latter imitating model's behavior. So even the behavior had been caught. Not only the things that you're taught, but also the things that was caught. No, yun yung minsan sa teacher ang mas mahalaga yung ugali o yung behavior na nakukuha ng bata kaysa yung mismo tinuturo mo. So yan, kailangan maging maingat na lalo na sa developmental stage ng mga bata, no? Ang hindi lamang yung talino pero yung behavior itself na naobserbahan according to Albert Bandura's social learning theory. So there are key concepts here. Modeling refers to observation and learning of new behaviors from others by simply observing how observing how others perform behavior, we'll be able to imitate that we observed. So that's modeling. Of course, we could model the manner, for instance, teaching math, not only the content that the pupils are actually getting from, but also the manner that he saw. No? Hindi lang yung content itself, but the process. Now, there is behavior involved on that. Okay, acknowledging Daisuke Migi, salamat sa iyo. Thank you for dropping by on our YouTube live stream, CBC Ministries online page. Welcome to my EDU115 class. So yan yung modeling. Maganda ring aplikasyon nito sa church, no? Of course, as pastor, preacher, leaders of the church, we need to emulate Christ-likeness. Not only the things that we are preaching in the pulpit, but also the lifestyle, whereas we are emulating the Lord Jesus Christ. No, we are actually projecting Christ. We are actually, our lifestyle consistent to the gospel. No? Hindi lamang yung preaching, but also the portrayal of the gospel. That's very okay, thank you Migi, no, for yan pala, kasama siya kay Ma'am Kay, ganda, PKCM group. Okay, thank you Ayan, so yan yung importante at very napakahalaga niyan na dapat makita natin as teachers and as leaders of our respective churches, no, makita yung portrayal of the gospel, because they are in a way modeling you. They're in a way observing you, and then there are simulations. And then eventually they will imitate you. No, kaya kung ang ini-imitate mo si Kristo, follow Christ as I follow me, sabi ni Pablo, as I follow Christ. So meaning, dapat ang makita kay Pablo o sa lahat ng mga leaders ay si Kristo. So ganun yung context sa Christian education. Ganun din naman, in an academic sense, what is being taught is not just what you taught or preach, but your portrayal, your lifestyle. It's very essential for a preacher. So mahalaga yon. Hindi dapat maging inconsistent yung portrayal sa tinuturo mo. Yan ang nagiging dilemma ng ating mga churches. No? Even our churches, yes, you may be a good preacher, but is your lifestyle consistent to the gospel? So that's the question. Okay, thank you, Miggy. No? Salamat sa iyo. So no problem. Okay lang po yan. Salamat sa pagpunta dito. Alright? So mahalaga yun, no? Yung modeling. It's very important concept in neo-behaviorism. Self-regulating learning. Of course, when individuals observe, assess, and judge their own behavior against their own standards, subsequently reward and punish themselves. So yung self-regulation na tinatawag. So we could, on the cognitive process, as it occurs, no, yung observation nila, ina-assess, no, or may judgment in their judge their own behavior against their own standards. So yun yung ina-assess nila, no. Pag natututo ang isang tao, no, ikinokumpara niya to sa kanyang sariling standard. Teka, tama, natuto kasi dati hindi ko alam yun eh. So or yung behavior, mas mabuti, mas maigi yung ginawa niya. Or ito ay hindi ko tutularan, so I reject this. Or I choose this. Or ayan, no, so nagkakaroon ka ng standard, subsequently reward or punish themselves, no, for this, no, for ano bang mangyayari sa akin pag inadapt ko yung ganitong concept or behavior. Can it have positive or negative implication on my learning? And then of course the vicarious learning. It's a learning acquired from observation of consequence of the other behavior. Meaning you are actually, vicarious means substitute. You substitute yourself with that observation. What if that happens to me? What if that happens to me? What will be the consequence? No, so yun yung vicarious learning na tinatawag, no? In-apply mo, nagkaroon ka ng assimilation of when you adopt this particular learning or behavior, what will happen to you? So that is vicarious, learning acquired from observing the consequence. Ito, naging maigi ang naging bunga nito, therefore magiging maigi din sa akin. Or naging mas tama yung sagot niya, or mas madali niyang nasagot yung isang calculus problem, ganito na rin yung methodology ko sooner or later. Alright? Or perhaps, hindi ko gusto yung method niya, mas mahaba sa akin, yun pa rin ang susundin ko. So nasa learner yun. No, nasa learner, nasa proseso ng learner yun, no, in vicarious learning. And then observational learning consists of 4 phases. Of course, we already mentioned this. First, attention. So kaya lalo na sa mga bata, kailangan ng attention. We need to pay attention. No, if they would like to learn, no, without paying attention, they will learn less than expected, or perhaps not learning at all. That's why it's important, lalo na sa mga pre-elementary and even elementary. These are foundational stages of learning that the teacher should be able to cause them to pay attention to the teacher as the model. No, perhaps attention is important. So without the attention, there will be no actual learning. No? Halimbawa, sa Sunday school classes, mga bata, no, hanggat hindi sila nagpe-pay attention, wala talagang pagkatuto dyan. No? Paikot-ikot lang yung isipan ng estudyante, no, at hindi siya natututo. No? So nakakalungkot din naman kapag lalo na kahit sa mga matatanda pala, no? No, halimbawa ay matanda na sa Panginoon pero hindi pa rin talaga natuto, is not really paying attention. In fact, I'm encouraging as part of my plan in our church is to teach the congregation to listen expositionally. Because we heard preaching expositionally or expositorily, now that the congregation needs to listen expositionally as well. So that's the response. So looking into the exposition, appreciating more of the exposition of God's word. And that's attention. Excuse me. It all starts with the attention. And then retention, learning to remember what was observed. No? So the remembrance. Of course, this is still part of the low-level thinking skill, but it started there. No? Kung walang remembrance, walang higher order skill. No? Paano ka magkakaroon ng HOTS kung hindi mo naman naalala? You see? So may connection pa rin 'yon. No? Though yung sa lower order, pwede pa rin yung metacognitive doon, no? Remembering a model or a cognitive metacognition, no, which is yun yung kagandahan ng Bloom's I think Ma'am Emma, you're the one presenting the revised, am I right? Bloom's taxonomy.
Opo, sir.
Ayun, nakita natin doon yung 2 dimensions of Bloom's taxonomy. So retention, though it's still on the lower order, still pwede mo siyang gamitin for metacognition. No? So retention is important as they observe. Of course, motor reproduction to replicate the behavior in terms of an actuation or perhaps assimilation. So there is assimilation, no, for motor reproduction. And then obviously the more important is motivation, learning through motivating factors. So diyan na pumapasok yung incentives, negative reinforcers. By the way, sa new behaviorism, hindi niya tinanggal yung input process. So, nandun pa rin. No, yun nga lang in terms of motivation, not the focus anymore of the learning. Yung input-output pairs or yung response-stimuli pair, but it's input process output combinations. And for us to motivate for learning, there might be some reinforcements or incentives, no? And then we have the classification of models. Now, of course, we could look at different models here. First, the real life, exemplified by teachers and parents. Yung real life situation, models. Our parents as our model, leaders are models. Our church leaders are models. Now, these are should be realized by a teacher. No? As a teacher, as a person of authority. Not only on the academic sense, but on the moral sense of it. So we have moral obligation to our pupils. We have a moral responsibility to show to them moral standard, to exemplify ethical standards, no, on our classroom. No, even for early graders, no, dapat makita yan. Kaya tingnan nyo, anong naalala ko? Si Mrs. Bostre. Si Mrs. Bostre na may patpat. Si Mrs. Bostre na may sharpshooter ng eraser. No? Kaya yung grade 1 teacher nyo, may impact yan eh. No? Kasi na-exemplify sa kanya on the negative sense nga lang ng teacher. No? Kaya mahalaga yung magpatuloy kayo na as a good teacher, good Christian educator, no? That we are actually modeling our life to these children. No? So mahalaga yung symbolic. Of course, this is more an abstract presentation presented through oral and written symbols. No? So symbolic could be understood in hearing or in visualization. So these are symbols. Symbolic. No? That could be explained further. No? And whenever they are recalling things, it could pop up in their mind, no? In terms of oral and written symbols. Symbolic. And then representational. So presented through audiovisual means. No, the symbols, no, through audiovisual presentation, perhaps yung mga presentations, mga audiovisual projections, or perhaps listening to a story, or perhaps watching a movie or video clips. No, so these are representational. Okay, so that's the neo behaviorism. We have clarification before we move to module 10. Wait, not yet. Yeah, module 9, I would say. Module 10 is the earliest presentation, am I right? This is information processing. Who teach this? Is it you, Emma, or Jerry Lee? Or Micaela? Who teach module 10?
Parang si Ma'am Jerry ata.
Okay. Sige. So, okay. So, yan. That's the neo behaviorism. No? It serves a link. Pero it's geared towards behaviorism. Actually, cognitism rather. Neo-behaviorism is geared towards cognitism. So parang gusto niya nang ilink niya lang yung behavior doon sa cognitive process, pero eventually it is on the direction of cognitism. No? Kaya sabi niya new behaviorism or neo behaviorism by Albert Bandura and Tolman. Alright. So next is Gestalt psychology. So this more on what we call cognitive process or cognitive perspective rather as far as learning is concerned. We're now on the behaviorist or the cognitive camp of learning. No? So these are the prominent psychologists, Wolfgang Kohler, Max Wertheimer, and Kurt Kopka. So the term is a German word, Gestalt, is whose origin means pattern, shape, or form. So meaning there is a pattern or shape that forms in your mind, and that would serve as a relation to a particular idea, no, or information. No? So there is the shape. No? So there's a resemblance in our mind. So this is actually done through cognitive process, no? The cognitive process. Ayan. So papasukin lang natin si Jerry Lee. Ayan, kaya lang di pa nagpop-up yung kanyang ano dito. Anyway, so it serves as a foundation for cognitive perspective of learning. It opposes the external and mechanic focus of behaviorism. Just like the stimulus response pair is not that the way of learning, but more on the cognitive process. No? So it's an opposition for behaviorist camp. No? It consider the mental process and products of perception. So more on this, no? Kaya itong mga psychologists na to are more on cognitive psychologists. Suggested that learners do not just collect information as it is, but they're actively processing and restructuring data in order to understand it. So ang sarili kong terminology diyan, it's actually cognitive process that are approximating the information. The processes involved is the one that approximates information. No, ang isa kong ano diyan, the more inclined ang isang mag-aaral doon sa process na, halimbawa is more of a numerical smart and one is say a word smart, no? So though the teacher is teaching the same information, yung approximations niya nung information na yon iba. Parang ganito yung isang analogy ko diyan, no? Same broadcast, halimbawa nung Channel 7, i-broadcast mo siya sa isang analog TV, no, kumpara doon sa may mahiwagang black box. O wala na pala ngayon for the box. At ngayon meron pa, ano nga ba yung sa Channel 5, Emma? Yung pinagbinibenta nilang box. Yung kapatid, meron na rin. Yung Channel 5, meron na rin box. Nakita mo ba rin, Micaela?
Sa 7 affordable.
For the box yung Channel 7. Siyempre. Yung sa Channel 2, ano na eh. Ano na yon, pasay na yon kasi nga of course there are issues in NTC pero nakakasaga pa rin siya ng digital. Ang point ko dito, pag pinagkumpara mo yung dalawang yon, same information but the reception is different. One has an HD capacity, no, the other one doesn't have one. If you have analog receptions, for instance your antenna, no, yung antenna reception, di ba nga meron dong comparison, nakita nyo yung mga palabas, no, comparison of an analog reception to a digital reception.
Yes, sir.
So ang point niyan, assuming ito yung mental process ng dalawang estudyante, same information pero yung kanyang appreciation magkaiba. Yung isa mas malinaw, yung isa ay hindi. So ganun, nagkakaiba-iba tayo in terms of actively, because there's what we call active process and reconstruction of data. So sa reconstruction of data, yung approximations niya mas malinaw sa isa kasi siya ay inclined to math. Yung isa naman, doon natuto rin, more inclined to linguistic perhaps. So mas para sa kanya mas malinaw. Pero pag tinuruan mo naman ng something like in grammar, baka mas luminaw naman yung kabila. So meaning, ang point ng mga psychologists dito, it's more on the active process rather than the passive reception of learning. Kasi passive yung stimulus eh. Kung ang magti-trigger ng learning yung stimulus, then there's a corresponding response. That's very passive. So walang active process or procedure na nangyayari. But for Gestalt psychologists, this had been reconstructed. Now, there is a reconstruction in your mind. No, katulad ko, kung ano yung naririnig nyo sa akin o yung image na po-project nyo, may reconstruction sa isipan nyo yan. And it's dependent on the process that you are performing actively so that you may have an approximation or reconstruction of the data being received. Just like what happened to your television set. Binabato yan sa broadcast company or broadcast. Pag sinabing bato, ibig kong sabihin yan, tinatransmit from their studio, no, to the air, over the air, no, and then it will be received by your analog TV directly to your antenna. But for digital TV, you need to have that digital box so that you will receive in digital form. So ganun yung nangyayari sa isipan din ng bata o ng pupil. There is a process active so that they be able to reconstruct. The more the exact the replica of that information, the better the learning. Yung absolute talaga, parehong-pareho. Kung ano yung, halimbawa, si Noli De Castro yung binonodcast, hindi kamukha ni Mike Enriquez yung makikita. Okay? Ganun din naman yung sa pagtuturo natin. Pag sinabi nating mansanas, mapipicture ng bata sa kanyang isipan ay isang prutas na kulay pula. Normally, pula yung red, pero hindi lang naman red ang apple. No? It could be a green apple or other types of apple. But there's a heart-shaped, maple-like fruit that is called apple, no? So yun yung reconstruction sa kanyang isipan. Okay, that is the Gestalt psychology. And then we have here principles, law of proximity. Ayan, things that are near to each other appears in a group together. So there are groupings, no? So nagkakaroon ka ng resemblance ng grouping, no? When they are near to each other. Tendency is to perceive objects that are close to each other. So there is proximity. All right? And then there is similarity as well. So similarity, no, in terms of things that appear, though wala lang akong sample dito, maganda sana visual to eh, no? I need to admit I am not ready to present visually. But in your module, no, I think it's a clear illustration as well, no? So perhaps I could pull down our module, no, for this, no? But anyway, let's continue. Similar things appear to be grouped together. Ayan, we group things that are similar or the same. So nakikita niyo yung similarity, no? So tingnan natin to maya-maya. As perhaps I could pull down the module 10 or module 9. Or maybe later. And then closure, incomplete figures tend to perceive as complete. So tayo na sa isipan natin ang kumukumpleto nito. There's this mind tend to fill the gaps or the missing part of the figure. And then there's a sense of continuity, link individual elements together so they for a continuous pattern that makes sense. So there's continuity. And then law of pregnance. Now, good figure means good figure. It states that every stimulus pattern is seen in such a way that the resulting structure is as simple as possible. So, yun yung mga makikita natin dyan. No? Let me know if I'm already overlapping your presentation. No? Kasi let me clarify here. So the next one is information processing already, no? So let me check. Okay. Ito yung cognitive, no? Gestalt. So yan yung mga makikita natin dyan. So maybe as far I could use the engagement here. No, yung examine the picture. So pag tinignan natin yan, I suppose you already use this material. Doon malabo lang dito guys, no? Yung unang figure, makikita mo yung black, that's me, and then you on the latter part. Tama ba, Micaela and Emma? So meaning you're associating this to the dark portion, which is me, the lighter portion, which is you. Yan. Or ito naman, ito yung isang halimbawa, yung good and evil. Tama? So good yung black. Guys, saglit ha. I need to attend to this, no? Wait lang. Guys, I'll be back in few minutes ha. Wait for a while lang. Okay, I'm back. Alright, so ito, no, yun yung mga example ng pattern. No? As you could see here. And then, of course, this one. Yan, optical illusion. No? So, yan, this is part of your module. No? Yan, so is there possibility of you and me together? Yes. Through this illustration that we have. Okay, so ito na yung mga gestalt na yan. No? So, let me have some example here. Ito yung mga gestalt principles, guys, no, as illustrated here. No? So, proximity. So, elements that are closer will perceive to be a coherent object o yung magkakasama. Meaning coherent, magkakapare-pareho or proportion, no, in a way. No? No, kahit sabihin natin sa isang box yan, pero magkakagrupo yung isang 4x3 and then yung isang 3x4, no, the row times column ay magkakapareho din. And then here, no, another illustration is laws of similarity, wherein we are able to construct in our mind those similar items such as triangles, no, that's somewhat in the middle and surrounding by a circle. So there are laws of similarity. Now we perceive the same patterns in our mind, no, and connect these similar patterns and distinguish it from other pattern, no, such that makita natin, no. So elements look similar will perceive as part of the same form. There seems to be triangle in the square. So parang ito, triangle in a square. We link similar elements together. Okay? And then closure, we tend to fill the gaps or close figures as we perceive. We enclose a space by completing a contour and ignoring the gaps. So perhaps we could see here, if you will notice carefully this illustration, yan, as if we are actually connecting it to form another triangle. Or one triangle that has a line and the another triangle a space. No? So pwedeng ganun yung, can you see that? Michaela, Emma, and Jerry Lee. No? So there's what we call the law of closure. In our mind, we could close the gap. Now, one of which we forming the triangle and the other triangle that's reverse. No, pwede rin ganun yung maging, kasi nga meron na siyang pattern, no, na pwedeng magdidikta doon sa ating imagery. So meaning there is already a reprogramming or reconstruction in our mind. All right? And then we have the continuous, no? Tendency to continue contours whenever elements or pattern establish an implied direction. People tend to draw good continuous line. So in sense of continuity. So at least mapoproject mo na kung saan siya patungo. No, katulad dun sa bagyo, di ba? So nandun pa lang sa point A yan, pero meron ng may patterns wherein it will flow through, no, according to the forecast of pag-asa or meteorology. So pag nakita na sa chart yan, meron tayong idea, magkakaroon ka ng prediction in terms of its continuity, no, nung flow. Halimbawa yung point A, yan dyan yung specific location ng typhoon after 1 hour, after 3 hours, after 5 hours, etc. Then we will form a pattern. There's a sense of continuity on that. Okay? So yun yung makikita natin. And other, no? In terms of pregnance, stimulus will be organized in as good as figure as possible. It is example, good reverse symmetry, simplicity, and regularity. No? So these are the three classifications on our book in terms of the stimulus pattern. No? So simple as possible. There are simplicity and regularity as well. All right? So that's it. And then we have Aside from this, Gestalt principles, tingnan nyo kung nag-overlap na ako guys sa lecture natin. No? So insight learning and problem solving theory. Meron ba nag-discuss niyan guys? Micaela and Emma. So I think this is still part of module number the Gestalt principle. No? Not so sure. No? Let me check our component modules here. For a while lang guys, saglit lang ulit. Pasensya na sa delay. So wait lang. Okay guys, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, pasensya na. No? Maraming mga I need to go up kasi ayan, basura time eh. Kaya kailangan magtapon ng Ayan. And we are few meters away from the road. So yeah, I need to run. Anyway, so kanina naman client call. So si Wolfgang Kohler, no? So that's the insight learning problem solving theory. I think the problem solving theory is in module 18, no? What do you think guys? Kasi itong presentation ko hindi problem solving theory, no? I think I'm hitting two birds with one stone here. Let me check out. Okay, siguro sooner or later. All right. So insight, ito yung insight learning and problem solving theory, no, by Wolfgang Kohler. So the insight is the capacity to discern the true nature of the situation. Imaginative power to see into and understand immediately. So yun yung mga concept ng insight, no? So yung insightful learning na tinatawag, no? So we have discernment. Of course, to have a capacity to discern, there must be a need for a prior knowledge and wisdom applied to your life so that we could apply the discerning of true nature of the situation. So more on critical thinking, creative thinking, no, itong problem solving theory na ito or insight learning theory or problem solving theory ni Kohler, no? So imaginative power, no? Of course kailangan ka ng may prior knowledge ka diyan, and that would involves learning things, no? Or sometimes we make use of our previous learning experience to apply to understand things, no? So sabi diyan, imaginative power to see into and understand immediately because there already a prior knowledge that nandiyan na, and then what we are going to do is to apply this into a particular context, meaning yung discernment na tinatawag. So yan yung on a secular humanistic point of view. But of course, discernment is actually brought by the Holy Spirit. That's our definition of discernment. But for this cognitive psychology, it's more on the capacity to gain insight on a particular situation or to have an imagination, no, a power to imagine. As soon as you learn things, as soon as you heard things, no, we could have this capacity to understand with our imaginations. Okay, gaining insight is a gradual process of exploring, analyzing, and structuring perception until the solution has arrived. Of course, mathematically, we have uh, problem-solving processes, of course. In fact, this is, alam natin yan, no? So yung problem-solving process that involves the question, what is the unknown? Or what is the problem? Now, what is the given? What are the connections of the unknown and the known variables, and the manner, the methodology where we could get the variable. Again, no, kung sa math yan, yung problem solving, what is the unknown? What are the known variables? What is the relation with the known and the unknown variables? And what is the methodology where we could solve? So that is problem solving as far as math is concerned. Because this is a gradual process of exploring, analyzing, structuring perception. Pag in-apply naman in learning in general, no? So kumbaga, may feedback mechanism yung utak natin until such time na ma-restructure yon, yung insight, na magkaroon ng mas maliwanag na pananaw patungkol sa isang bagay na natutunan natin. Nung unang perception, medyo malabo, pero nung in-analyze mo, lumilinaw siya. Dahil ina-apply mo na yung mga insights mo. And then eventually, no, nakita mo, naunawaan mo ng mas madali. Alright? So that's the idea of this theory of insight learning or problem solving. Patterns in solving through trial and error. Yan, isa pa yan, yung feedback mechanism. Hindi naman ito yung actual na ginagawa. Kumbaga, in the process of your mind, cognitive process, you're already attempting solutions. Initial solution applied, pero pag hindi na-meet yung problem, no, you could reapply in your mind at this time that you will arrive in a particular solution or pattern. No? Patterns in solving through trials and errors. Failure to pause, looking for potential solution, solution attempt, insight plan. So there is an insight plan, insightful plan na kung saan masosolve mo yung problema. Lalo na applied ito, makikita natin sa problem solving. Sa tanong, ano ang unknown, ano ang given, ano yung relasyon ng unknown sa given, at ano yung mga paraan para masolve mo yung hinahanap ng tanong. So 4-step rule yon. No, yun yung 4-step rule sa mathematics. I'm not so sure with on the side of English language or linguistics or social science, no, pero mas, or even in the natural science such as physics, it's also following the pattern, the 4-step mathematical pattern. So what is the unknown? What is the known? What's the relationship between the unknown and the known variables, and the method where we could solve. And then, of course, optionally is number 5, checking, going back to the original question, where the answer could return back to the original question in terms of checking the problem. And all of this could be done in our mental process or cognitive process. We call insightful learning. Okay? Okay, I think this is Jerry Lee's, am I right? Information processing theory. Is Jerry Lee's presentation. Yes, that's yours or Jerry Lee, Emma?
At po kay Ma'am Cheryl po yung information processing theory.
Okay. Noted. So I will be moving on that. Information processing. That's module 10. Module 11, we don't have also, no? Gagner's condition of learning. So after module, who presented module 12? Is it you, Micaela?
Hello po, sir.
Is it you who present module 12?
Opo.
Okay. So that is Asubel's meaningful verbal no? So module 11. So I'll skip on this options of this portion, no? Information processing. Okay, so yung long term na yan, no, maganda rin yan. Ito, yan, Module 11. Robert Mills Gagne has developed hierarchical theory. So meaning this is more on the hierarchical learning. So basic learning could contribute to more advanced learning or cumulative learning. So meaning the issue of prerequisites for cumulative learning, no? So basic information could be the foundation for a more advanced learning. For instance, it's true in mathematics. You learn arithmetic, you learn algebra, trigo, analytic geometry, and other pre-calculus subjects before you dig in with calculus courses. So meaning there are accumulations. In this theory, he specified several different steps of levels of learning. He stressed that different external and internal conditions are needed for each type of learning. So yun yung makikita natin dyan. No? He supports cumulative learning, teaching that transitions from simple to complex. Simple mathematical skills of adding two numbers towards integration or perhaps performing some calculus problem. That's a complex process, and we need to make some understand some accumulative knowledge on this through this theory, no? So from simple to complex skills, no? Not only in mathematics, also in social science, even in linguistics as well. So from simple to complex, which is widely used in many instructional environments. Also our curricular offering, no? Now, even in my engineering program as an electronics engineer, we started from basic ideas of electronics and then eventually applied to communication, applied to broadcasting, applied to information processing, applied to building designs and other complex things, no? Started from basic. So ganun siya, no? So learning skills are hierarchically arranged, no? It must be, we need to recognize this, no? Hierarchical skills. No, learning skills are hierarchically arranged, no? Nabubulol na ako dito. So we have 5 types of learning. We have the intellectual skills or procedural knowledge, refers to the learner's use of symbols to interact to the environment. So yung learner's use of symbols. Now yung this more of an abstract insights or symbols that resembles the information and how they interact in the environment. That's intellectual procedural skills, knowledge. So because the connections of the symbols are more on procedural, no, or process. Then we have the verbal information in terms of the learning of names, labels, and facts. So verbal, referring to the word, not just the abstract or symbolic items, but also for the names, labels, and facts. And then cognitive strategies. So these are essential mental activity to formulate plans and devices techniques through which certain problem will be solved. So strategies. Now we have these strategies, no, or manners where we could solve problems. It's also on the mental capacity to solve problems, not just the output model of behaviorist camp, but on the cognitive camp, it's more on the cognitive process, wherein there are plans, devices, techniques that they could acquire in formulation of the solutions to the problem. Then the motor skills are concerned with the coordination of muscular movement acquired through observation. So perhaps this more applied to some physical skills, no? Motor skills were acquired through observation. Perhaps demonstration of a calisthenic or dance move, or in perhaps in sports there are skills that necessary that they need to have some muscular coordination, etc. and etc. Then of course, more importantly is attitudes, choosing personal actions based on internal states of understanding of feeling. So behavior, attitude is also part and parcel of what we call the types of learning. We're not only learning the symbols, we're not only learning the verbal information, we're not only learning the cognitive strategies or problem solving techniques, we are not only learning the motor coordination, but as well as the attitudes that had been taught and caught by your pupils. So yan yung makikita natin dyan, no? na mahalaga. And then under this, there are 9 instructional events or events of instruction that we may look, and we could perhaps look into its application to the classroom, no? So mahalagang bagay yan. Perhaps I could para makita natin yung ano, yung lahatan na, no? Alright, so let me zoom out para makita natin yung parallel ng application doon sa events. So mahalaga to lalo na sa mga estudyante, no? We could gain some insight here. So these are 9 events of instruction. Okay, pwede na siguro to. Alright, so I could just so gaining attention is very important. No? Without attention, no, there's no much learning if we will not, the pupils will not pay attention. So we need to gain attention as learners, no? So we have to pick the learner's interest in the subject. So perhaps mathematics, he's not fan of math, but perhaps he likes fruits or other things. No, perhaps we could pick the learner's interest to that and then direct it to your lesson. Okay, gaining attention. So mahalaga yon. No? Perhaps in our Sunday school lesson, no, we could bring some items or object lessons where we could relate to our lesson just to gain their attention. Kasi pag walang attention, wala. Parang tengang kawali. Mga tengang kawali. No? And then next, after gaining attention, informing the learner of the objective. So this is an important aspect on what will be the direction of the course, what will be the direction of your lesson, what needs to be attained after the lesson. So most special, this more visible on a micro view in elementary level, but on a macro view as part of the course for the entire semester. No, naman sa college. So ganun yung kaibahan niya, no? But more specifically for basic education, it's more on the micro view. So let students know what they will be learning. So prior knowledge on the objective is essential. Perhaps may mga pagpapauna tayo dyan, no? Pre-lecture activities, no? For our student. And then we need to connect it with our prior knowledge, recalling the prior knowledge, so that they may utilize this learning to connect to the new learning. No? Get the learners think about what they are already know and how to connect it to the new learning. So that's very important, recalling the prior knowledge. And then presenting the new material. No? Of course, they already have a preparation as far as the learning is concerned because they have a prior knowledge, and then connect it to the new learning. Then providing learning guidance. Presenting new material, learning guidance. These are various activities. Help the learners follow along as the topic presented. No? So more on teaching strategy na to. No? Yung mga teaching strategies for maximum learning of the students. And then eliciting performance. No? So perhaps to know what the learners have already understood or taught to them. So we need to elicit performance to them. Definitely, if they learn something, they will perform relative to the subject matter. And providing feedback about the performance. Of course, it's more immediate for LM. Dahil na sa LM, dapat bigyan nyo agad ng grade. Diba? Nagpasa siya ng color, kinolor niya yung apple. No, bigyan mo agad ng grade. Lagyan mo ng 3 stars. O ng iba pa mga grade. No? Yan. So lalo na kasi nasa developmental stage pa sila wherein much of the motivation they need. But for college, no, katulad ng ginagawa ko ay only give parcel of my grades, no, for a purpose, no, kasi para in a way parang curiosity na rin yan eh. Para at least yan partially you know your the feedback on you, but of course eventually no yan kukumpletuhin natin yan for the rest for the entire semester na provided. But of course, we need to provide feedback regardless of the time element. But I'm saying for LM or pre-LM, it needs to be immediate. The learner needs to know immediately how they perform. As far as pupils concerned, our kids is concerned in the classroom. So ask learners or inform learners of their performance. And then that's the number 7. Number 8, assessing the performance, evaluate learners on their knowledge of the topic. First, we need to evaluate them. And then enhancing retention transfer by these aids. Yung mga teaching aids, yung nakikita natin dito sa modules natin, no, yung yan, yung mga learning aids, no, yung ating mga advanced organizer, these are helpful for us for them to retain, enhancing retention and transfer of information or knowledge. So teaching application, okay, I think I could go back to the original okay, observe strictly sequence in teaching in terms of level and learning skills and capabilities required. So yung sequencing is very important. No? Wag tayong dapat may flow of thought, continuity of flow of thought. Mahalaga 'yon. Lalo na sa mga bata. Check students' capabilities in each level and learning before moving to the next level. Right? Make sure that the prerequisites learning skills are acquired, developed before the proceeding to the next target. All right, so that is module 11. Then module 12 had been taught already by Micaela. Am I right, Micaela? So this had been lectured already. How about 13? Is it kasama yan, no? Part na rin, no? 12, 13, not yet?
Ako rin po, sa last week.
Sa 13, okay. So starting from module, ano pa yung naiwan natin, guys, na module? I think 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Tama, no? So, module 17. Tama? Yes? Module 17 na, no? This is also Bell. Advanced organizer. Ayun na yun. Ito na yung kay Brunner. Module 13.
Sige mo na doon, sit na.
Tingnan mo! Ate, oh! Ate, oh! Ayun, oh.
And then we have the cognitive process. So this involves module 14. Module 14, what else? And then of course, there's the transfer of learning, module 15. Revised taxonomy is already mentioned already. And the Weeks model. Now, Sternberg successful intelligence theory and Weeks model. This one. So, successful intelligence and the Weeks model. All right, so I think this module 17. Then a while ago, problem solving is had mentioned already. No, hopefully I could cover that also. So this is Robert Sternberg, module 17. Okay, so okay pa kayo guys? Okay pa ba kayo?
Yes, sir.
Medyo Tom Jones na siguro. Tom Jones na siguro. Ibalik na ako dun sa aking normal viewing. Okay, Sternberg, no? Successful intelligence is the ability to succeed in life given one's own goals within one's environmental context. So to succeed, no, that is successful intelligence theory. So we have here successful intelligence theory, part of which is what we call memory skills, recall facts and information, and retention of knowledge. So there's a retention of knowledge, no? Memory skills yan, no? So it had been discussed under information processing, no? Yung mga memory, tama, no? Long-term memory, short-term memory, memory registers, no? All of these retentions had been discussed on module 10. So memory skills, no? Recalling. Of course, sa recall na yan, kung anong mas meaningful sa'yo, yun yung mas matatandaan mo. Yung mga, kasi merong sense ng pagkalimot or forgetting of these things if it's not meaningful to you. Yun yung makikita natin doon. So what is retained, when perhaps the ability to easily retain or have a retention is for those items that are meaningful. Or in my case, I could have an impromptu lecture on any mathematical courses. This is not to brag or not to be boast of, but of course, since math is my first love, second to engineering, as far as subject is concerned, I could always make an impromptu lecture on from algebra to higher mathematics courses, because I could easily go to the pool of memories that I have and to retain this knowledge, no, if it is needed. Yeah, so that's memory skill. And of course, I know each one of us has these categories of information that are easily accessed. Now, for instance, for Jerry Lee's case, is more of a math or English major, so he could access more on the information relating to his discipline. Same as true with Ma'am Emma here, so more on an elementary teacher. So there are categories of information that could be easily accessed in your mind. Well, for in our case with Micaela and me as math majors, I would say that we could easily access information that is somewhat relevant to us as math teachers and students. So memory skills, no? And then analytic skills determine a certain idea is good. No, so analytic, so skills is also important. Idea is good. So yung good dito is not more on, it's relative, no? Yung goodness dito is more on the context of the one that thinks that's good, not the ethical sense of goodness. Yung sinasabi dito, more on analytic to. Yung perception ng good. Creative skills allow a person to come up with a new idea or to solve a problem. So creative is allowing new strategies or new ways of presentation or new ways of understanding things. No, those are creative skills that had been acquired as well in terms of successful intelligence theory. And then practical things enable to apply what one has learned and implement a plan in terms of the actual project or actual experience, perhaps. Now, these are practical skills. All right. So let me clarify on my, let me check. All right. So WICS theory, somebody knows the acronym WICS? Emma and Micaela?
Ano po yun, Wix, sir?
Yeah, what does WICS stands for? So WICS, wisdom. Then we have intelligence and creativity synthesized. So that's a combination of wisdom, intelligence, creativity synthesized. So para siyang may gano'n, no? So yan yung Wicks model. Intelligence is viewed as a set of fluid abilities, so meaning flexible. There's flexibility. No, though kami ni Micaela, math majors, may flexibility kami. There's fluid abilities to learn from experience and adapt one's surroundings. So adaptability. This is very important. Flexibility on the learning environment. Individual possesses abilities that can be nurtured into competencies. So abilities na yan, magiging competencies mo. Ability in problem solving could contribute to your mathematical competencies or analytic competencies, and further cultivated into expertise. Yan. So abilities becoming your competency, and you're competent enough, you're becoming an expert on that. Diba? So we have intelligence, wisdom combination, and creativity, new ways of presenting the idea, new ways of solving things, new ways of presenting these things. So from ability, competency, and expertise. That is a Wicks model. It's a more of a recent model on how humans think. Guys, saglit lang kung nalolobat na yung aking speaker. It's a more recent model on how humans think and reason that can help us understand how students will learn most effectively. It aims to develop basic abilities to true expertise. Ayan, yun yung makikita natin dyan na halimbawa. Kaya maganda rin yung yung varying strategies, teaching strategies, no, lalo na sa mga bata. Perhaps a class of 30 students, no, mas may magkakaroon tayo ng varying teaching strategies to present so that it will cultivate their abilities, no? It will cultivate their abilities to become competencies sooner or later and become expertise. So kailangan kasing makita rin natin ano ba yung mga abilidad ng ating estudyante, at eventually they will have a competency on that, perhaps numerical competency, verbal competency, linguistic competency, in other areas, and then eventually it will further cultivate into expertise. So yan yung ninanais nitong Wicks model na to. Sternberg proposed that while education develops analytical and practical intelligence as well as creativity, wisdom should be integral part of the whole process. Wisdom, that is knowledge practiced. That's how I define wisdom. So yung wisdom, we gain it through practical application, no, in gaining insights from practical experience of intelligence applied. So yun yung nakikita nating integration doon sa education. No, yung analysis and practical intelligence and creativity as well should have wisdom or practical insights as well. Okay, the use of Wicks model allude admission, instruction, and assessments as well. Include admission, allude tuloy. Instruction and assessment. So may mga parameters yan. You could consult your module for that. I think that's it because module 19, which already your final period, is your motivation. That's already motivation. Okay, guys? So I think though I missed something, I felt I missed something, but nevertheless that might have a wrap up of our midterm modules from module 7 to 18. So I hope that you could read through the modules and also answer the take home. The take home would be essential also. I will be getting items that are most connected to the modules, no? So yung related sa module 7 to 18 lang, no? Most especially, no, but not exclusively. No, perhaps I will still be getting some items from modules 1 to 6 as well. Okay. So, sige, do you have clarification? Emma and Micaela?
Okay na po, sir. Kasi kanina medyo nagano ko sa, yung sa weeks, yung wisdom intelligence. Sabi ko, anong difference niya? Pero nasagot niya naman po later. So, wisdom is the application of ano, yung kung ano yung
Yes.
pagkakalam
Kasi,
po.
siyempre, may correlation yung wisdom and intelligence or knowledge, no? So intelligence primarily on mental process, no? So that's also knowledge, and then applied, no? There must be a practical realization of that intelligence or knowledge. That becomes wisdom on the part of the learner, and then afterwards, when applied to different contexts, that becomes discernment. Yung discernment naman, it's actually telling right on wrong depending on the context. At ang backup mo, wisdom and intelligence will back up your discernment, no? On the spiritual aspect of your pupils, no? Kaya yan ang kaibahan ng mature believers doon sa babes in Christ. Yung babes in Christ walang discernment. Bakit walang discernment? Kasi wala pa siyang knowledge na nagigain from the Word of God. Kailangan niya pang i-desire and sincere milk of the Word of God. And we gain knowledge from that, and eventually that believer, that new believer in Christ will apply this practically to his life. He will gain wisdom from that. Then eventually gain discernment from that. And that will make him able to partake of the meat of the word rather than just the milk of the word. So that distinguish us from new believers from maturing believers or matured believers. Yung discernment na tinatawag. Okay guys, I hope that that would end our session. So just be updated as soon. Anyway, I'll be guiding you as soon as I upload the exam material. I will chat that into our general chat box, messenger, and then you have five days to complete. So again, same rule, 3 hours. No, you could have a maximum of 3 hours. The moment that you ask the quiz code, no, you will have 3 hours to answer at least 70 items, at least. So, but I'm still tentative on that because we have a longer coverage compared to our prelim examination. Okay? So I think Jerry Lee, is Jerry Lee Wood coming in? So my connection issues to Jerry Lee. Okay na yung ano natin guys, yung assignment, yung ating presentation assignments, no? So I think this is clear to you, Emma and Micaela. So it will be an alternate presentations. So for week number 13, it's me and Jerry Lee, and then Jerry Lee and Emma, and then the following week, Emma and Micaela, and Micaela and me for the rest of the modules for for the final period. And then we will have a parallel item analysis of those board problems. Okay? So yun yung siguro mas maganda yung ano na yan, no? Ma-appreciate niyo guys pag nandun na kayo sa time na magte-take na kayo ng exam. O kaya magte-take kayo ng isang practice set for your own development and in your own experience, how you experience a battery test or a mock exam. I would say a mock examination. Not just for EDU115, for the rest of the professional courses. Yan. From EDU 101 up to EDU, ano ba yung pinakamataas na course code ng EDU? Bukod doon sa practicum. Kasi practicum, EDU 1, ano yun eh. Of course, except for field study, from EDU 101, that is child and learner, tama ba? Child and adolescent learners and learning principles, EDU 101. And then down to, meron pa tayong EDU 131, Philosophy of History of Christian Education, EDU 171, Technology in Teaching and Learning. I think that's a very part. Until 171, guys. Yan yung coverage ng exam. Kasi yung field study naman is more on the practice teaching na to eh. Yung EDU 191, 192, 198. And then audit course, this more on pa-review class, no, na gaganapin. Ibibigay din sa inyo. Okay? So, clear na tayo dyan. So, I would like to thank you, Micaela and Emma, for your patience
Thank you din po, sir.
and for your attention. Yan. So, also with Jerry Lee, I know you have a hard time in connecting. Nevertheless, also thanking all of you, the three of you, for my class here. I hope to see you by week number 14. Tama ba? Kasi next week will be a Good Friday. So the following week, now we will be starting our presentations. Okay? And with also parallel is our the parallel is your item analysis that we will be providing. Okay? Okay, thank you also, Jerry Lee. No, I know you have a hard time connecting, but really appreciate your time as well. Okay? So, sige, let's close in a word of prayer, thanking the Lord for this time. Okay, no problem, no problem. Anyway, you could always review as I upload this this session to our classroom. Okay? So, reminder again, just hold down the review notes, read your modules, modules 7 to 18, and answer the take-home. So, the take-home will be crucial on your midterm examination. I'll be getting 60% of the questions from the take-home questions. But remember, for the take-home, you answer even numbers only. But it does not mean that I will not get from odd numbers to be part of your test items in midterm examinations. Okay, so pwede pa rin. Pero ang requirement lang sa take-home, even numbers. Okay? So, pero pwede nyo na rin sagutin yung odd even kung masisipag kayo. Alright? So, okay lang yon. Sige, let's close in a word of prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity where we could continue on our discussion, looking into some modules that have not been presented, filling the gap, and eventually enforcing on some of these items. I pray, Lord, that you may guide the students on their review, on their study, so that they're not doing this just to have high grades, but of course, they're doing this in preparation to their teaching career, teaching ministry, and that you will be glorified in their service to you, O Lord, as your teacher in the classroom, as your teacher in the Sunday school, as a minister of the church. We thank you and continually guide the students, bless their respective churches and their respective pastors, continually guide them, O Lord, that they may become a blessings to their congregation. We thank you, we honor you. This is our prayer in Christ's name. Amen. Okay, guys, thank you so much. See you when I see you.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir.
See you soon.
Thank you po.